Our story begins on Coruscant as the Jedi Council has been called into session, and alone inside of the council chambers, Mace Windu waits alone for everyone. And as he waits, the Jedi Master stares out of one of the windows, and he closes his eyes, feeling the currents of the Force around him. Mace loves the Republic more than anything else in the galaxy. He sees its many flaws, but he understands that the Republic is the only way to truly maintain peace and justice in this broken galaxy. Even though the Senate is beyond corrupt, the Chancellor is giving himself more power every day, and the Republic itself has become an empire in essentially everything except for its name. Windu still has faith that they have not lost yet. But Windu also now recognizes that he cannot be the one to save the Republic, because his feelings and his judgment are clouded by attachment. He has broken the Jedi Code. He has an attachment, not to a person, but to the Republic. Mace sees that he has become blind to what is truly going on, and so he knows what he must do. He must leave Coruscant, allow the will of the Force to take place without him. It is the only way. The council members would slowly begin trickling in, and so Windu took his seat as Kenobi, Fisto, Shakti, Depabalaba, and now the rest of them entered into these serene chambers, and they looked to him with respect. And as Yoda took his seat, Windu wondered how many of them were going to survive whatever is to come. But before discussing other missions, the council first looked to the open seat, and then they read the new decree from Palpatine himself. The Senate has voted him authority over the Jedi Council, and as his first move, the Chancellor has assigned Anakin Skywalker to be his personal representative on the council. No one in here liked Palpatine having this much power, but they all came to an agreement, except for Obi-Wan. The rest of the council members agreed that they must use this as an opportunity to spy on Palpatine. And Anakin was soon called inside the chambers, as Windu would deliver his crushing news. He told Anakin that he is on the council, but he is not granted the rank of Master. And for a moment, the mask Anakin always hid behind was dropped. He simply said, "What?" and openly yelled that this is outrageous, unfair, forcing Windu to tell him to take a seat. Anakin became flush with embarrassment, and the meeting continued as Windu waited for an opportunity. Ki-Adi-Mundi brought up the droid attack on the Kashyyyk Wookiees, and as Yoda opened his mouth to say that he will go, Windu held up a hand, and he said that he will be assigning himself to this mission. Everyone was quite surprised to hear this. Mace hadn't left Coruscant very much at all over the last year, and now he wants to go, as the war seems to be coming to an end, one way or another. Mace could feel the confusion in here, so he explained why he must go. His ability to use the Force and to think clearly has diminished greatly, and he does not trust himself to make the right choices with the fate of the Republic on the line. The council came soon to a full agreement, and the meeting would come to an end. Not long after, Mace Windu was being escorted to the Republic ship, taking him to Kashyyyk by Yoda and Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan told them that Anakin did not take to his new assignment to spy on Palpatine lightly. Kenobi expressed his extreme disagreement with the council on this, saying they're asking Anakin to betray a friend, and he's not sure Anakin will ever trust them again. Windu heard this, and he was becoming even more glad that he would be away from it all for a bit. He expressed his own frustrations with Anakin, saying that his relationship with the Chancellor has gone too far. If this mission to spy on Palpatine creates a wedge in their friendship, then perhaps that is not a bad thing. Obi-Wan agreed overall, but he still felt there was a better way to go about this, and Yoda stayed silent until Windu left, as the two of them wished Windu good luck in his mission. And so as Windu went to Kashyyyk, the final days of the war would continue, as Anakin would learn of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis from Palpatine himself. His desperation to find a power to save Padme would have him considering the powers of the Sith. He would look inward at himself, and soon he would bring the location of General Grievous to the Jedi Council. Everyone agreed that Master Kenobi must be the one to bring him in, as he has battled Grievous the most over this war. He has the best chance, and so Kenobi would soon say goodbye to his old friend as he took off. Across the galaxy, on Cato Nemoidia, Megiddo, Felucia, Seleucami, and many more planets, battles raged on, and on Kashyyyk, the Separatists launched their attack. Kashyyyk was perhaps the most important world just outside of the core, as it controlled hyperlanes that connected the core to Hutt space, the Corellian Run, and other important lanes that could help bring the Separatists right back into the core. And so as the Wookiee warriors roared for the beginning of the battle, Jedi Master Mace Windu stood on the front lines with them as the droids began their attack. The Battle of Kashyyyk unfolded as the Wookiee forests and the once calm beaches would transform into the battlefield. Mace Windu knew the importance of this battle, and he charged as the leader. On the shores, Windu unleashed his full powers, his purple blade weaving through the droids with speed that was almost otherworldly. Waves crashed around him as he moved seamlessly from droid tank to tank, cutting through them, jumping up to a Wookiee catamaran, deflecting blaster bolts, carving through droids, and with another leap, he reached a Separatist command skiff, shattering it with a powerful force crush, sending shockwaves that toppled the ranks of the advancing droids. From the trees above, Tarful and Chewbacca shot down at the droids, and they watched Windu in awe, feeling as though they witnessed of the gods come to life. Windu moved with impossible grace. His purpose, his every step, was leaving destruction in its wake, and the Wookiees truly rallied behind him. Droidekas attempted to breach the Wookiee lines into the dense canopy, but Windu scaled the trees, working with the Wookiees to crush the Droidekas with broken branches. When enemy artillery rained fire on the oil refineries, Windu raised his hands, and the Force answered his call, sending the bullets off course, stopping them entirely. To the Wookiees, the Jedi Master was the embodiment of Kashyyyk's defiance against the droids. In the water, a Separatist aquatic division was advancing beneath the waves, aiming to flank the Wookiee defenders, and sensing the danger, Windu dove into the depths, lightsaber illuminating the murky waters. He began striking at droid submarines, severing their engines with power. His presence rallied the Wookiees and the clones alike, and they held the line, saving Kashyyyk, and Windu felt good for the first time in many months. He allowed the clones and the Wookiees to take the final charge into the Separatist base, as the battle was victorious far earlier than thought possible, and Windu would soon head up to the trees to take a message from Grand Master Yoda. Windu soon answered to see Yoda looking much older than ever before, and Windu would notice for the first time the toll this war was truly taking on the old Jedi. Yoda told Windu he sensed a great shift in the Force. Kenobi has engaged Grievous, and Skywalker was sent to tell Palpatine about this. Windu said this is good. Soon they will know the Chancellor's true intentions. Yoda shook his head slowly, and he said he thinks it may have been a mistake putting the two of them together. Palpatine is an excellent politician. Surely he knows that Anakin is spying on him, and he will use that against them. Windu now held a grave look on his face, and he told Yoda he is right. And he now said that is exactly why Yoda must go and confront Palpatine. If he does not give up his emergency powers, with Grievous now on the run, then he should be arrested. Yoda slammed his stick into the floor, telling Windu that is exactly what the Sith Lord would want. If Sidious is indeed watching Palpatine, then Jedi treason would be the perfect excuse to destroy the Order. Windu shook his head, asking Yoda what he proposes they do instead. And Yoda said they will be patient. This mystery is unraveling itself 1 minute at a time. He will not rush into action. And now Windu raised his own voice, saying that if the Jedi wait too long to act, then there may not be any Jedi left very soon. And the door behind Yoda swung open. It was Skywalker, and Yoda could feel that Anakin was in pain. So Yoda turned to Windu and said he will take the right path, and the hologram blinked out. On Kashyyyk, Windu could only close his eyes, then turn and look out at the battle in the distance. Perhaps Yoda was right. If he were on Coruscant, he would be in Palpatine's office right now, doing whatever it takes to ensure this war ends immediately. And inside of the Jedi Temple, Yoda was now alone with Anakin, as Anakin stumbled over his words, saying that he finally knows the truth. The Jedi were right about more than they know. Chancellor Palpatine is Darth Sidious. Yoda was of course a bit surprised to hear this. He knew it was a possibility, but hearing the truth, after all these years of working with Palpatine, was rather jarring. Yoda asked Anakin if he is sure, and Anakin said he's never been more sure about anything. Palpatine revealed himself as a Sith, saying that he knows all aspects of the Force. Yoda scratched at his chin, then calmly asked Anakin why Palpatine revealed this truth. Anakin was taken aback by this. He fully expected Yoda and the Jedi to go into full action mode to go try and arrest or kill Palpatine. All Palpatine had been saying is that the Jedi are trying to take over, but instead of marching into his office, Yoda simply wanted to explore why this was happening. Why now? Why reveal himself at all? And as Anakin once more stumbled over his words, Yoda remembered his conversation with Anakin. The young boy has been having nightmares of someone close to him dying. And Yoda remembered what else Anakin said, that he will not let these dreams come true. So Yoda looked at Anakin, and he asked him if Palpatine gave him an answer about the dreams. A certain darkness seemed to overtake Anakin as he looked down at Yoda and said yes, Palpatine gave a far better solution than the Jedi ever could. And finally, Yoda understood Anakin's role in all of this. He's always been the prize for the Sith. The chosen one for the Jedi Order would be used to destroy the Jedi. It made too much sense. And so, Yoda told Anakin to follow him, and Anakin did indeed follow Yoda, deep into the temple, into the archives, and then into the restricted section. In here, Yoda would show Anakin the ancient Jedi holocrons of what they know of the Sith, and their powers to achieve immortality. If powerful enough, they can indeed transfer their own essence into someone else, but the ability to save the life of another is no dark side power. But a Jedi can save someone's life using Force Heal, though it can only be done if that Jedi is fully in the light. Anakin asked why he doesn't know of this power, and Yoda said that ever since Anakin arrived to the Order, the Force has been clouded in darkness. It is extremely difficult to even feel the light, much less call upon it to fully heal someone. Anakin asked Yoda why he was telling him this now, and Yoda said that together, the two of them can destroy the Sith, and then, only then, will Anakin be able to use the light to save the one that he loves. Yoda was sort of going against a lot of what he believed in right now, but at the end of the day, his duties were to the Jedi Order and to the people of this galaxy. If that meant allowing Anakin some privileges that typically only belong to masters, so be it. Anakin nodded down to Yoda, saying he understands. He will do whatever it takes to save her. And Anakin's mind began to clear. He was seeing the truth. Palpatine was the traitor. He was the master of Dooku, and this war, the same war that nearly killed Padme many times, could end today. In his office, Palpatine was becoming impatient with Anakin. The chaos of the war should have caused the Jedi to attack immediately. Anakin would see the Jedi for the power-hungry fools they are. But instead, everything was rather silent, until finally, the doors opened and in walked Yoda and Anakin alone. Yoda ignited his blade, and Skywalker did the same, as they told Palpatine that his rule ends today. Palpatine's face darkened as he came to grips with what was happening here. Anakin chose his side, and so Sidious pulled out his red blade and said, "So be it," before spinning to try and kill the two Jedi. The two of them avoided the initial attack, then pushed Sidious back across the floor. Sidious unleashed a wave of Force lightning, splitting the two Jedi apart. Anakin absorbed the blue lightning with his saber, pressing forward despite the onslaught, and Yoda, with a flick of his hand, redirected the energy back at Sidious, forcing the Sith to leap onto his desk in a bid to gain the high ground. Yoda darted forward, leaping high in the air, while Anakin struck from below, his sheer power hammering Sidious into an increasingly desperate defense. The Sith Lord countered, slicing through his desk, hurling shards of metal at the Jedi again, and yet they were unrelenting in their fight. Driven into a corner now, Sidious unleashed an explosion of dark energy, shattering the window behind him, sending the glass falling into the Coruscant night. The shockwaves staggered Anakin and Yoda momentarily, giving Sidious the opening he needed. With a snarl of anger at his defeat, he leapt backwards, vanishing into the city's sprawling skyline, cloak billowing as he disappeared into the shadows. Anakin and Yoda looked down, and clearly, Sidious had this escape plan ready. They couldn't let him out of the planet, but Anakin knew where he was going. He called out for R2 and told him to bring a Jedi starfighter to Padme's apartment and get her out of there. R2 chirped with excitement, and he took off, flying a ship through the Coruscant night. In the office, Yoda finally understood who Anakin was trying to keep alive, and he decided it was a problem for later. Inside of her apartment, Padme was getting ready for the night when C-3PO stumbled inside, saying that R2 is here and he won't stop yelling. Padme hurried to the balcony, and R2 was indeed going crazy, essentially ordering her to get inside of the ship, saying he has orders from Anakin. And so, Padme got into the pilot seat just as Palpatine's shuttle came into view, firing at the starfighter as R2 took off, flying around nearby buildings. Sidious decided that the only way left to turn Anakin was by invoking pure rage out of him, and for that, Padme must die today. And in order for him to execute Order 66, Palpatine had to be inside of his office. It was the only place on Coruscant, aside from the temple, to access the frequency for all of the clones. He would kill Padme and turn Anakin. Yoda will die, and Order 66 will commence. And yet, somehow, he was being outflown by this tiny little astromech. All of his plans now rode on him being able to destroy R2-D2. R2 spun around constant firepower, and from the seat, Padme told him to go back to where Anakin is. He will save them. R2 chirped in agreement, and he put his full thrusters towards the executive building. The Jedi starfighter weaved around traffic, and Sidious centered the force around himself, finally locking onto the starfighter with R2. But as he did, Sidious now realized where he has flown to. He was zooming past his office window when he looked to his left, seeing Anakin suddenly leaping through the air. Sidious tried to veer away, but it was too late. Anakin's lightsaber sliced through the shuttle engines, and Sidious missed the final shots on R2 as his ship began to implode, spinning away towards the ground, and he was stuck inside. Anakin was also falling through the air, and he spread out his limbs to try and slow his fall, hoping for some help. In the office window, Yoda called R2 back to him, and Yoda flipped atop the starfighter, ordering R2 to chase Anakin. Yoda looked in the cockpit window to greet Senator Amidala, then he held on as R2 sped the starfighter through the air. Finally, they reached the falling Anakin, and Yoda used the Force to bring Anakin atop this ship as well. R2 landed the starfighter on the streets, and all three of Yoda, Anakin, and Padme looked to each other with shock that they were all alive. Yoda then turned to R2, and he told the little droid that he sees why Anakin trusts him so much. R2 chirped with excitement once more, and then Yoda and Skywalker went over to the crash shuttle to find Sidious inside, and he was dead. They did it. The Sith were no more. On Kashyyyk, Mace Windu was still standing in the canopy of the trees when he suddenly felt the darkness begin to dissipate. And for the first time since before the war, Mace Windu allowed himself a true, genuine smile. He could tell that it was over. Yoda didn't. He wouldn't allow himself to wonder what the outcome would have been if he were on Coruscant instead, and he would aid the Wookiees in rebuilding Kashyyyk for a bit, before eventually being called to a council meeting where Yoda and Anakin went over the death of Sidious and how the war can now come to an end. All of the Jedi across the galaxy would be recalled to the temple, and within days, Yoda and Mace were standing on a balcony overlooking the temple main room, and they would recognize their order once more. For years, the temple had been rather scarce, sometimes with more clones in sight than Jedi, but today, they saw that it was all worth it. Mace would soon attend meetings to begin the process of electing a new chancellor, and the corruption in the Senate would finally be exposed for all to see. As for Anakin, it would be a few weeks before Padme would actually give birth, and when she did, it was the most stressful day of her and Anakin's life. For Padme, the stress was because she was giving birth to twins. For Anakin, he thought he could lose her and the children. But to his surprise, he didn't even need to do anything. She just lived. And Anakin would see that he made the right choice, as he would take some time away from the Order to be with her and the children, with Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Yoda, Windu, Rex, and so many others coming to visit as the galaxy finally returned to peace. And folks, that is our story for today. By the way, giveaway for 80,000 subscribers. If you want to know about that, it's 3 lightsabers. Go check out the video posted before this one to enter. Just going to keep it all on the previous video. Anyways, let me know what you thought of this video down below in the comments below in the comment. Anyway, I had fun with it. Yeah, it's just, I've done, I think, in the way long ago, like Windu and Yoda go to Kashyyyk together, but I wanted to explore this one where Windu himself just kind of acknowledges that this isn't like for any trap or anything, it's just, you know, he's in a weird moment himself, so I wanted him to get away and really acknowledge that he might be a bit of an issue, because he really wants this war to end, and he might go too far to do it sometimes. Wanted to emphasize the difference with Yoda, you know, maybe not rushing so quick to gather Fisto, Kolar, Tin, and go fight Palpatine. So wanted to go through that, bring him to the archives, emphasize Force heal. Obviously, Force heal not as great of a power in this time because the light side is all messed up. Anyways, appreciate you guys listening. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.